Howdy friends, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the difference between coltsfoot and dandelion. So it's officially spring here in Southern Ontario. It's April 1st, and if you have been driving around looking and you're seeing all these beautiful yellow flowers popping up, people get really excited. They often assume what they're seeing is dandelion. So one of the first big differences, that was really big. What was that?
A bee.
It was a bee. One of the first really big differences between coltsfoot and dandelion is that it is way too early, at least for my growing zone, for dandelion. So if you're seeing yellow flowers and you are anywhere from zones, I would say 4 to 6, right about now, you're probably seeing coltsfoot. Okay, so one of the first things I want to talk about is actually the root of the plant. Now, I'm not going to go digging this baby up, but a dandelion is a taproot, whereas coltsfoot grows in colonies. So this is actually, some people would consider it invasive in that regard. So this clump here is probably actually all one plant, which makes it quite a bit different from dandelion. Another thing that they actually have in common is that they're both not native to North America. They're actually originally from Europe and likely would have been brought over here by European settlers. All right, another thing I want you to pay attention to right now, these are not coltsfoot leaves. This is actually ground ivy, which I have videos on. Don't hate Creepin' Charlie. He's got some really good medicinal properties. But coltsfoot flowers are going to come up first. So you're never going to see, unlike when you have dandelion and you're seeing the leaf and the flower together, that doesn't happen with coltsfoot. Coltsfoot is going to flower first, go to seed. It's going to produce that cool little like puffball just like dandelion does. And usually right when it's about finished going to seed or gone completely, that's when the leaves will come up. So if you want to make medicine with this plant, I actually have a video on that, and I'm going to post it in, my husband's pointing, this corner, whichever one it comes up in, up here. So you can learn how to do that. You actually have to harvest it twice. You do with dandelion too, but for different reasons. But as you can see, we're going to take a nice close look here. There are no coltsfoot leaves right now. Another thing I really want you to pay attention to is check out this stem. And I'm going to do some photos as well. So actually it's probably better with my hand there. You can kind of see, if we get nice and close, unlike dandelion, which has like a really smooth stem, this has almost scales. So it looks quite different and is easily recognizable because of the stalk that it produces. Malfoy just likes to be in videos. As you can see, he's gotten into something. He is filthy. Aren't you, buddy? Yeah. He's happy it's spring too. Right. Another thing that's different, and I know that to like a layperson who's not used to botanical identification, they probably look very similar. But coltsfoot has 2 different types of flowers. So these little guys, these little dudes in the middle here, see if my husband can zoom in nice and close without it getting too blurry. Those are disc petals. And these outer ones are called ray petals. And dandelion only has ray petals. It doesn't have this cool little disc. Kind of like aster plants, if you see things like, you know, coneflowers, echinacea, all of that, where they have petals in the middle and then they have those ray petals on the outside. That's how coltsfoot is going to present, whereas dandelion just has those ray petals. Last little side bit of information. I introduced coltsfoot to this property, and I did so because we had a swale, a nice wet area, which coltsfoot really likes, whereas dandelion will grow pretty much anywhere. Coltsfoot really prefers kind of wet, boggy, so you'll see it along riverbeds, swales, creek sides and stuff. But even though it grows, it spreads by rhizome, it also spreads by seed. And so I now have it in areas. So this is just, you know, a little bit of an FYI, friends. If you plan on adding this to your property, I now have it in other places. So here is my asparagus bed, or one of them, and she's living here. Likes hanging out with the rhubarb. So I've got coltsfoot here, and I have coltsfoot and dandelion. You can actually see the young dandelion leaves coming up there. over by my Egyptian walking onions, which I do have a video about if you want to learn about those. So just goes to show, as much as you want to be able to try and control nature, you can't. So if you do choose to add plants to your property, just know that they're likely not going to stay exactly where you put them. So I forgot to mention that Coltsfoot's botanical name is Tussilago farfara. Dandelion is Taraxacum officinalis. So officinale, pardon me. So they're not even in the same family. So one of the things that is different about them is they have completely different chemical actions in the body. They don't even remotely do the same thing. So even though they have pretty yellow flowers, that's pretty much where the similarity between the two of them ends. Tussilago or Coltsfoot, again, I have that video on how to make medicine with Coltsfoot, so link that, check it out. I'll also put it in the description below. This is predominantly a respiratory plant. So it is amazing for things like asthma, chronic inflammatory respiratory conditions, as well as things like cold and flu. It does have some toxicity properties that you have to navigate that dandelion doesn't have, but it's still a really great plant to get to know. Now, if you've got any questions about the difference between these two, how to identify them, of course, please, as always, leave those in the comments below. If you like my content, I always appreciate a subscribe and a thumbs up. When you do that, it tells the YouTube algorithm to share my video with other people who are interested in the things that you are interested in. So that's why we ask you to do that. Like I said, if you've got questions, you know what to do. And until next time, this is Corinne from Spiraea Herbs, wishing you health and wellness.